What do you think? Gabby, what do you think?
Are you real? Like, is this really what you think?
What is wrong about what I just said?
Women should be seen and heard. Like, are we just not people? Like, just because we have a vagina, we're not people with brains and cognitive function?
See, I'm like, okay, at first I'm like, well, I have a podcast and I enjoy doing this. But I was thinking about it. Like, if I look at it from a society perspective, right, take myself out of it. Because as women, we always make it about us. That's our first thing.
It's true.
And I'm like, as a society, we probably would be better if women weren't hurt. As a society, just think about it. Who's talking the most nonsense on the internet? Is it men or women?
Nick Fuentes. That's who's talking the most nonsense.
Facts. What are you saying that needs to be heard? Like, what if you're a woman that needs to be heard? What
Did
is
I
it?
say that I was? No. Okay. I'm just the personality hire. I add a little bit of spice.
Okay, so you don't have anything that needs to be heard, is what you're saying.
but you're pretty, so you need to be seen.
There you go. See? Case closed.
I do really like Candace Owens, though. I like
her.
Yeah, I'm okay with her. How about it's only the podcast where the women agree with the men?
Yeah, sure. They do the weather.
You know, self-imposed feminists. I'm a feminist. I do this. I'm a feminist. You hear that word over and over and over again. You'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, you know, a thirst trap with your ass out, right? And you want someone in your comments going, "Oh, you slay, bae. You slayed the day, bae." Hashtag Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah.
And you do this stuff for attention, and you're devaluing yourself, and at the end of the day you don't actually feel good, and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM, you can get guys telling you look good, you can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you, right? Are not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else, because we are increasingly becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned, you know, and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot to Kylie Jenner, but what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful...
I feel like women do that shit for other women, not men. Men do not want girls with lip filler.
You think?
No, men do want.
I don't think so.
Okay, then why do women or men always go for women that have lip filler?
For like
everywhere.
For a one night thing, and not a long term thing.
Guys like the bimbo look.
Do you like the bimbo look?
No, I don't. I kind of like the more plain, like girl next door kind of look. Not the bimbo plastic surgery, that whole deal. I don't like that.
I think there's women that are so beautiful that have the filler and the plastic surgery, and that's the first thing I see when I look at them. I'm like, oh, clearly you have chin filler, Botox, nose job, but you must have been so much more beautiful before. But also, it's just about it's all personal, whatever they feel better in. But it's what society has, because now every girl has lip filler. Walk down the street, you know.
And Botox. I can see it in their forehead. They don't move. It's so... Even the girls last night, you could tell.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, it's like, bruh. But they were old, you know. They were kind of old. I just don't like the work done. I like the natural look, because a natural look has integrity. Because when you think about it, actually, your look reflects your values. Everybody says, oh, that's only skin deep. Don't judge a book by its cover. You actually should judge a book by its cover, because the cover reflects often what is within. You know, like even like a book. If you take a book and you're like, you know, treating it like shit and stuff, well, then it's going to look bad. And the same is true with human beings. Like if you're a lazy person and you eat garbage all day and you have no self-control and you like drink a big gulp all the time and then you look fat and ugly, it's like, well, that reflects a lack of discipline, a lack of character. So there's actually more to do with how we look and how we are than maybe what a lot of people would like to believe. Maybe more so than people are comfortable with. That's not to say the looks are everything, but it is to say that often they reflect choices which matter.
I can agree with that. Like for me personally, all my tattoos, I got them at a very young age. And I didn't realize till I got older, the reason I got them was because there were certain things I went through when I was young that made me want to appear more like threatening and less like I didn't want people to be able to feel inviting to see me as weak. So, but I didn't realize that's why I was getting them. And now that I'm older, I'm like, well, they're all over. What do I do now? I don't want them anymore, you know? So
I think that more women should hear that, because you don't hear a lot of women with tattoos talk about that they regret their tattoos. Yeah. But I know a lot of girls do. A lot of times they just won't admit it later.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it took me a while to even come to that conclusion that I'm like, why did I do this? Why would I do this to my body at such a young age too? Because you can get them removed. The removal process is.
My sister got her first one at like 15, 16.
And it's true. People look at you different with tattoos. Like, I have them on my hands. I can't hide that. There's certain jobs there I will never be able to get because I have ink all over me. I used to work with children when I was younger. I love kids. No one who would want to hire me as a nanny with, tattoos all over me.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you say that, because I feel like for a lot of people, it's hard for them to admit that, because, people make a decision and they almost feel like invested in the decision. Yeah. So if somebody comes along and says, oh, that was a mistake, and especially something that's irreversible, you almost feel like you have to own it and say, well, and hang on and defend that decision. And that's true with I think a lot of feminism. People go down a certain path. They may regret it. They may be miserable, but they're like, it's like this sunk cost fallacy. They're like, well, I'm already here. What am I going to do? In other words, to admit they're wrong, their whole life would have to unravel in a certain sense, and maybe some of their esteem. So it's important that people are able to admit their mistakes. Time is always right to do what's right.
Girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer, and that cancer will become contagious to you if you accept that. You don't follow better role models.
It seems to me a lot of women, when they hear conservative values, the trigger to them, and I could be wrong, the trigger to them, it seems as, bondage, go back in the kitchen, shut up and just, just be a slave to your husband. Why do you feel like there's so
We like being in the kitchen. Can we talk about this? Why do they always act like being in the kitchen is bondage? I like the kitchen.
Not every woman does. Not every woman does.
I think a lot of women would I feel like when I did not like cooking, it was because I didn't understand how. And I would just get frustrated. But honestly, once you start learning how to cook, it's fun.
Yeah, but everyone's different. I mean, I grew up cooking. I grew up in an Italian household. You know how it is. So to me, that's my love language, to feed people. When I cook in excess because I need to feed everyone in the house. But that's just how I was raised. Not everyone's raised like that. It's not everyone's thing. So
yeah, I understand it's not everyone's thing. But I think more women than not, I think they would be happy in the kitchen if they learned how to cook.
I think so, too. I don't like to cook because I can't cook anything, but it sounds like a fun thing for women to do. If I could cook, I probably would, because it is like a love language, to make food for people. I just can't do it.
Do you think men should always take out the trash? Do you believe in gender roles in the household?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think the man should mow the lawn. That's like a guy chore.
It's funny.
What?
Growing up, we very much had the men and women chores divided, so much so that my brother is deathly allergic to grass.
Oh yeah.
And I never mowed the lawn ever, and he is dying on the freaking lawn.
Gotta man up. That's a guy chore.
Yeah, and honestly, he's a tough kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that kind of thing.
When they're hearing about some of the things that you say, like what makes you happy is making your husband a sandwich. Some people that sounds crazy, right? So why do you think there's such a disgust, such a rejection of that kind of idea of that kind of woman in regards to modern society? Because
we're being brainwashed via the education system.
Okay.
You learn feminism in school. Right, you learn feminism. I had to actively
define
learn it.
And for clarification, how do you define feminism?
I can tell you how they define it and what it actually is. Right,
Go
so
ahead.
Feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, I've been asked me to make a sandwich. Oh my God, can I make a sandwich? And then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that. You've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back, and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights, and you're not going to be able to go get work. You know, there was a time.
Gabby, do you think your opinion on the patriarchy has changed in the last year?
Yeah, I don't hate men as much.
Why'd you hate them before?
Because my whole life I was abused by men. So I had an internal hate for them. You know, it was men that were close to me. And you know, in Red Pill, they're always like, oh, trauma. But, you know, when you're like sexually abused at a young age, how can you not hate men? You know? So, yeah.
What switched your mind a bit? Pearl.
Realizing that men are people too.
Do you think that in schools they're taught that, like, it's almost like men are looked at as subhuman?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I feel like everything in society has this tone now of like, there's like a preferred group and a group that is not preferred. And it's with race, sex, religion. It's like, and you know, it's all these categories.
Who's more preferred, a trans woman or a woman?
Oh, trans woman,
okay.
Of course. But it's like, you know, it's like if you're like non-white is preferred over white, women preferred over men, other religions preferred over Christianity. Like, I feel like it's not even just in the schools, but that's just like the tone of the whole society. It's like, you know, even the conversations we had the other day, it's like, well, white doesn't have flavor. You know, it's all the non-white groups that are spicy and flavorful and interesting. And you're just like a boring white, you know, and if you're like a guy versus a girl, it's like in school, women heroes are celebrated. Hey, it's girl power. It's International Women's Day. Oh, you're just like a guy. You're like a nuisance.
I was so annoyed in that one movie with Scarlett Johansson. You know what I'm talking about? The superhero one. I don't know the name, but it was
Black Widow.
No, it was Avengers, I think. I'm not a big movie person, but I think I saw the end of that one because my brother was watching it. And I was just thinking how unrealistic this shit was. I know. Scarlett Johansson, what the hell is she saving me from?
Yeah.
What is she going to do? It's like, they have these, because as an athlete, if you're going to pick women to be the heroes, can you give me athletic women?
Yeah.
At least to make it a little more realistic, but you're going to send me, what is she, 5'1"?
Yeah.
What is a if anyone, I should be in that movie.
You should
Gabby should be in that movie.
Good thing it's not real.
No, I agree with you. That's why I like the new Batman, because in the new Batman, they both go to the house and Batman and Catwoman fight, and Batman beats the shit out of Catwoman like it's not even close. Because she tries to fight him and he just like pushes her up against the wall and just like totally. And I was like, yeah, because that's exactly how it would go. Batman wouldn't be Batman if he could get his ass kicked by a woman. And in the end, he's on the ground, he gets shot with a gun, and Catwoman's about to get like raped by this one of the Riddler's guys, and Batman shoots his leg with adrenaline or something. It goes up, and he throws the guy on the floor, and he's punching his face in. And it was like a male rage that like only men could have that superhuman like rage effect ability. So I thought that was very red pill. The Marvel stuff is all like, you know, you had Captain Marvel fly in the last Avengers and she saves the day. That's not even for a movie. Suspension of disbelief only goes so far. Not realistic.
You have thoughts. I can see it.
It's a movie. That's all I'll say.
You don't think movies should reflect reality?
It's creative. It's art. They're superheroes. They fly. They have powers. Like, it's not reality.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, it's like when they're pushing it. It's like they'll push an agenda through movies onto us. That it's like, who, even if we take away the superpowers, right? In our society, who are the real heroes? Who are the firefighters? Who are the policemen that actually do things? I swear to God, if they send me a policeman, a policewoman to my apartment, if I'm getting broken into and they send me a woman, I might as well defend myself. I'm going to be taller and stronger than
I
you.
just think that there are women in these fields, and they risk their lives the same way the men do.
Yeah, but they do the jobs worse. They do the jobs worse.
I wouldn't say that.
How could you not?
Maybe their skill set isn't the same as a man. They don't have the same physical strength, etc. But they are still facing the same risk factors of the men on the job.
And
so I think it's crazy.
And they should do the jobs that are good to our skill set. Paperwork.
Yeah, or cooking.
But that's their MO. If that is their calling, and I think there should be a certain respect. They're risking their lives for the safety of others.
I'm not saying that we can't respect them. I'm just saying, like, I don't think a woman can be as good of a police officer as a man because she's not as strong. And oftentimes, police officers get their guns taken away by criminals all the time. Men do. So it's like, if you're a woman, you're way more likely to get your gun taken away. I think women can be good for maybe de-escalating situations. But when it comes to someone's breaking into my apartment, and they send me especially here, there's no guns here. You're going to send me a woman with a taser? Come on. I'm like, send me the man. Especially if a man's attacking me.
Let's be honest, we're in England. They would never come in general. No one would show up.
Yeah,
you could be bleeding on the side of the road. The ambulance isn't going to come until the next day when you're dead. It's a dead body on the floor.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but you understood the point I'm making. It's like they're pushing women in these movies to be in roles they would never be in.
I think it's more of a
even CEOs. Let's take out the superheroes. CEOs. You know how many CEOs that are women are in these movies? I was watching Girls Trip. And all the CEOs were women. I'm like, we know damn well that in real society, all these women are not CEOs.
I mean, I don't know enough about the statistics on that or what the number of female CEOs are, but I mean, it's 2023. There's plenty of females in positions of power.
It is the current year.
It
is 2023.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Name one male billionaire.
Jeff Bezos.
Name one female billionaire that did not inherit her wealth through her husband.
I don't know.
That's the point. That's the point.
Boom.
So it's like, you don't have to know stats to know what we see.
Okay.
Like, that's why a lot of times people will die on these stats. But it's like, sometimes we can just look at what's in front of us.
Okay, this is how I see that. So if you look at I had a class in junior college, and this is what I was taught. This is what I know about that topic. Majority of the money in the world is shared by the top 1% of people. It's not flowing through the economy. Majority of the top 1% of people are white men that are hoarding that wealth. So when I think about that, I see racial inequality. I see systemic racism has played a role in that. I see that white men have built America up and still control it to this day. That's what I see when I look at that. So,
yeah, I disagree.
I know you do, Nick. I know you do. I know you do.
I agree that white men built America, but it's the Jews that run it now. Big transformation happened 70 years ago because it used to be a white elite, and there were actually quotas like Jews.
Is it on? What up, guys? Welcome to the Just PearlyThingz YouTube channel.